just gotta go faster than the speed of light, far beyond the speed of light. You gotta break the rule, Barry, and you've gotta do it now.
So what's up next for the Justice League movies? Looks like there's some hope for Zack Snyder's version of the Justice League. Snyder recently revealed that a scene from Rebel Moon 2 called The Last Supper was originally meant for the cancelled Justice League 2. We've got all the details on how Snyder's Justice League might still be on the cards, so let's dive into what we know so far. First, let's dive into how the Last Supper scene from Rebel Moon Part 2, The Scargiver, was originally intended for Zack Snyder's cancelled Justice League 2. Snyder recently shared that this scene was meant to be a part of his original Justice League sequel, which was set to kick off with a significant time jump. In the scene, just before the big battle between the Velt Warriors and the Imperium, the main characters discuss their motivations and backstories, leading to a series of flashbacks that deepen their histories. Snyder revealed to The Hollywood Reporter that this Last Supper moment was initially crafted for the DC Universe heroes to reconnect after a decade-long gap. He mentioned, "There absolutely is a Last Supper in Justice League 2, and the scene had them telling the stories of how they got there because Justice League 2 was going to open with us now 10 years in the future. And yes, Rebel Moon Part 2 sequence has a similar sort of structure to the Justice League 2 scene that we have." The Last Supper scene in Rebel Moon Part 2 gave crucial character development to the core warriors, adding depth to their motivations and interactions. If this scene had been used in Snyder's planned Justice League 2, it would have helped set up the film's main conflict, likely featuring Darkseid as a central antagonist, a plot thread introduced at the end of Justice League and part of the DCEU's original roadmap. While this scene played a key role in fleshing out the characters in Rebel Moon, it's unclear how much of Snyder's new sci-fi franchise directly draws from his abandoned DC sequel plans. Both films share a similar core concept, a group of heroes, each with unique strengths, battling a vast threat that could end the world. However, Rebel Moon received mixed reviews and didn't fully utilize its characters, suggesting that the film went in a different direction from the Justice League 2 plans. Despite this, the Last Supper scene was vital for showcasing Rebel Moon's world and characters. In a superhero context, it would have been even more impactful with the familiar faces from the first Justice League film, making it clear why this scene was such an integral part of Snyder's cancelled superhero sequel. In 2023, the DC Universe went through a major overhaul. Zack Snyder's vision for the Justice League was left behind, and the entire universe was rebooted. James Gunn and Peter Safran are now steering the DCU in a new direction, with fresh takes on iconic heroes. While some characters like Peacemaker are making the transition, most of the DCEU's heroes are getting a reboot. This means there's no immediate future for the Justice League as we knew it, especially with David Corenswit stepping in as the new Superman. The upcoming DC Universe plans seem to be shifting focus. With a solo Superman film set for 2025, the early stages of the new DCU will likely spotlight other superhero teams and factions rather than the Justice League. The absence of key Justice League members like The Flash and Aquaman further suggests that the team won't be making a return anytime soon without first reintroducing these core characters. There is a slim possibility that the Justice League might make a comeback in the future, potentially through a multiverse storyline. However, with recent multiverse films not always hitting the mark, and The Flash showing the pitfalls of such narratives, this seems less likely. That said, superhero stories often defy expectations, and there's always room for old elements to reappear in new ways. While this might be a letdown for fans of the previous DCEU, the reboot aims to provide a fresh, streamlined cinematic experience. It could even pave the way for some of the earlier DCEU dreams to come true eventually. For now, though, fans can still enjoy the Justice League movies as they await the new era of the DC films. Among the four known versions of the Justice League movie, Zack Snyder's Justice League is the most acclaimed and well-received. It's important to note that only the 2017 theatrical cut and Zack Snyder's Justice League were truly competitive, largely due to the production challenges and the stark differences between them. Zack Snyder's Justice League boasts a 71% critic score and a 93% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, significantly higher than the 2017 version, which holds a 40% critic score and a 67% audience score. On IMDb, the 2017 Justice League has a rating of 6.1 out of 10, while Snyder's version sits at 7.9. These ratings reflect the general consensus, although the buzz surrounding the release of Snyder's cut after years of fan demand may have influenced its higher scores. Reviews for Zack Snyder's Justice League highlight it as a more comprehensive and emotionally resonant version of the story, offering deeper character development and a richer narrative compared to the 2017 cut. This is particularly evident in how Snyder's version restores storylines and character arcs that were cut from the initial release. However, the 2021 film was not without its criticisms, particularly concerning its lengthy runtime and its serious tone, which some viewers found off-putting. With James Gunn's reimagining of the DC Universe, there's a lot of curiosity about where the Justice League fits into the new plans. For now, some Justice League members are getting solo projects. David Corenswet will be the new Superman in the 2025 film, while Batman will appear in Brave and the Bold. Wonder Woman doesn't have a new film yet, but a prequel series, Paradise Lost, will explore the early days of Themyscira before Diana Prince's time. The Lanterns TV show will introduce Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and Supergirl is finally getting her own movie with Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. However, a new Justice League film doesn't seem to be on the horizon for Chapter 1 Gods and Monsters. It looks like DC Studios may be focusing on establishing the universe before diving into another team-up movie, with the Justice League potentially coming into play in a later chapter. There's even a rumor that the upcoming Superman movie might hint at the Justice League, possibly featuring a nod to the Hall of Justice. This could lay the groundwork for the team's eventual return. For now, fans will have to wait and see how DC Studios plans to integrate the Justice League into their future projects. A former Justice League writer has revealed a surprising influence on his early version of the script for the film. With James Gunn's new DC Universe set to kick off this year, replacing the DCEU, it's interesting to look back at the earlier stages of the Justice League project. The DCEU's journey ended in 2023, after a turbulent period of creative shifts and regime changes. Will Beall, who worked on Aquaman and had a hand in the initial Justice League script, recently shared some insights with The Wrap. He mentioned that Back to the Future Part 2 was a significant influence on his version of the Justice League story. In his early draft, a substantial portion of the second act was dedicated to a post-apocalyptic dream sequence or flash forward, where heroes and villains had to team up, reflecting a concept inspired by the time travel elements of Back to the Future 2. Beall expressed that his experience was positive, noting that he enjoyed working on Aquaman and collaborating with James Wan and Jeff Johns. He was pleased that parts of his script found their way into Zack Snyder's final cut of Justice League, which premiered on HBO Max in 2021. He emphasized the importance of being a good steward of the characters and respecting what makes them great, rather than trying to outsmart the story. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay in the loop. Also, let us know, what are your thoughts on how James Gunn's DC Universe might incorporate the Justice League? And what do you think about the influence of Back to the Future Part 2 on early Justice League drafts? Share your thoughts in the comments.